When you dial 911 and nothing happens, just silence, that's the nightmare scenario nobody wants to face. But for millions of seniors, it's a real possibility. Right now, 911 call centers across the country are overwhelmed, burnout, staff shortages, and vacancy rates over 40% in some areas. When that happens, response times stretch, and in a real emergency, every second counts. Here's the hard truth. Being alone doesn't have to mean being helpless. This isn't about fear, it's about being smart. Preparedness isn't paranoia, it's power. Power to stay calm, power to act when no one's coming. Today, I'm breaking down the 12 critical preps every senior needs to stay safe and in control when systems fail. No fluff, just actionable steps. If you're serious about being ready, hit subscribe now. Let's get into it. Point 1. Fortify your pharmacy. Let's begin with the single most critical element of your preparedness plan. Securing your medications. In any crisis, whether it's a natural disaster, a power grid failure, or civil unrest, the interruption of essential medicine is a far more immediate threat than running out of food or water. For seniors who rely on daily prescriptions for conditions like heart disease, diabetes, or high blood pressure, even a 48-hour disruption can trigger a severe medical emergency. Your first objective is to build a minimum 30-day buffer of all life-sustaining medication. This isn't a suggestion, it's a requirement for genuine self-reliance. A common objection is that insurance providers make stockpiling difficult. This is a hurdle, not a roadblock. The key is to be strategic and proactive. Your first step is to have a direct conversation with your primary care physician and your pharmacist. Explain that you are assembling a comprehensive emergency preparedness kit and require their assistance. Frame it as a matter of personal safety. Many doctors are willing to write a prescription for an additional month's supply specifically for this purpose. They understand the risks associated with supply chain disruptions and are often your best advocates. If that route proves difficult, your next move is the early refill strategy. This method leverages the policies of most insurance plans, including Medicare Part D. These plans typically authorize a refill once you have used approximately 75 to 80% of your current prescription. For a standard 30-day supply, this means you can request a refill about a week early. By consistently refilling your prescription on the earliest possible day, you will systematically build a surplus. Each month, you add an extra week's worth of medication to your emergency stock. Over the course of a year, this simple disciplined habit can accumulate into an extra 3-month supply without raising red flags with your insurance company. It's a slow, steady, and effective way to fortify your personal pharmacy. Proper storage is as crucial as acquisition. Most medications degrade when exposed to heat, humidity, and direct light, rendering them less potent or even completely ineffective. The bathroom medicine cabinet is one of the worst places to store them. Instead, choose a cool, dark, and dry location like a bedroom closet or a dedicated storage container. For medications that require refrigeration, such as insulin, a power outage plan is non-negotiable. Invest in a high-quality, well-insulated cooler and several sets of large frozen gel packs. When the power goes out, your refrigerated medications go into the cooler with the gel packs, which should be rotated as they thaw. Finally, expand your medical buffer beyond prescriptions. Stock up on over-the-counter necessities, pain relievers, anti-inflammatory drugs, allergy medication, antacids, and any other items you use regularly. By making your medication supply your top priority, you neutralize the most immediate threat to your health in a crisis. Point 2. Secure your sustenance. Food and water logistics. Once your medical needs are secured, the next pillar of your preparedness is food and water. The common advice to have a 72-hour supply is dangerously insufficient for any realistic emergency scenario. A true crisis doesn't resolve in 3 days. You must think in terms of weeks, with the absolute minimum goal being a 14-day supply of both food and water. A more robust target is a 1-month supply, which provides a significant buffer against prolonged disruptions. For water, the universal rule is 1 gallon per person, per day. This allocation covers drinking, basic cooking, and personal hygiene. For a 2-week period, that means you need 14 gallons of stored water per person. You can achieve this with commercially available water bricks, which are sturdy and stackable, or by sanitizing and refilling 2-liter soda bottles. Store your water in a cool, dark place to prevent algae growth and plastic degradation. Never assume that tap water will be safe to drink during a widespread emergency. Municipal water systems are vulnerable to power outages, pump failures, and contamination. Therefore, a reliable water filter is not an optional accessory. It's a critical backup system. Simple, proven options like the Sawyer Mini or a LifeStraw family-sized gravity filter can process thousands of gallons of water, removing bacteria and protozoa from questionable sources. Having one of these gives you the ability to replenish your water supply from rain barrels, creeks, or other sources if your initial stockpile runs out. When it comes to food, many preppers make the mistake of stockpiling items that are unsuitable for seniors. A pantry filled with high-sodium canned soup, hard-to-chew grains, and complex meal kits is a liability, not an asset. You must tailor your stockpile to your specific dietary needs and physical limitations. Focus on low-sodium canned goods, including vegetables, fruits, and lean proteins. Canned chicken, salmon, and tuna are excellent, easy-to-prepare protein sources. Consider your energy levels during a stressful situation. You may not be able to engage in elaborate cooking. Stock up on instant oatmeal packets, protein bars, meal replacement shakes, and powdered milk. Don't neglect morale. Include comfort items like instant coffee, tea bags, hard candy, and chocolate. These small luxuries can provide a significant psychological boost during a difficult time. A crucial but often overlooked detail is a manual can opener. Have at least 2 high-quality, durable can openers. Your entire supply of canned food is worthless if you cannot access it. Organize your emergency pantry using the first-in, first-out FIFO method. When you add new items, place them at the back of the shelf and move the older items to the front. This ensures that you are constantly rotating your stock using items before they expire. Finally, you must have a way to cook your food when the power is out. An electric stove becomes a useless block of metal. A small propane or butane camping stove, a barbecue grill with extra fuel, or even a solar oven are all viable solutions for off-grid cooking. Planning your sustenance is about more than just calories. It's about having the right food, the means to access it, and a way to prepare it safely. Point 3. Assemble your personal response team. In a world where you can't dial 911, your most valuable asset is not your stockpile of supplies, but your network of trusted people. True self-reliance is not about isolation. It is about building a small, reliable community that functions as your first line of defense. Waiting and hoping that a first responder will eventually check on you is not a plan. It is a gamble with your life. You must proactively build this support network before a crisis hits. The time to exchange phone numbers and make plans is not when the storm is bearing down or the power has already failed. This network should consist of people who are physically close to you, neighbors, trusted friends from a local church or community group, or even family members who live nearby. The goal is to have a group of people who will physically check on one another when normal communication systems fail. Initiating this conversation can feel awkward, but it doesn't have to be. Frame it as a practical, neighbor-helping-neighbor agreement. A simple approach is often the most effective. Hey, I'm putting together a small plan for emergencies like a major power outage or a bad snowstorm. I was thinking it would be a good idea if we agreed to check on each other if something happens. I'll check on you and you check on me. Does that sound like a good idea? Most reasonable people will agree to this mutual aid pact. Your target should be to establish this relationship with at least 3 different individuals or households in your immediate vicinity. Once you have verbal agreement, you need to implement practical steps to make the network functional. First, exchange house keys. This single step can be a lifesaver. If you are injured or incapacitated inside your home, your network needs a way to get to you without breaking down a door. Second, show them where your emergency supplies are located. If you are unable to help yourself, they need to know where to find your first aid kit, your water stockpile, and your emergency binder. Third, share your critical information. This includes a list of your medications, dosages, your doctor's name and number, and the contact information for out-of-town family members. This is not the time to let privacy concerns override your safety. Finally, establish a simple, non-verbal communication system. This is a low-tech way to signal your status when phone lines are down. For example, agree that a green towel or piece of cloth hung on the front doorknob means, "I am okay." A red one means I need immediate help. This simple signal allows your network to quickly assess your situation from a distance without having to knock on every door. Building this personal response team transforms you from an isolated individual into a connected, resilient node in a micro-community. It is your most powerful force multiplier in any emergency. Point 4. Master the two-part survival system. Effective preparedness requires a dual strategy, because you may face one of two fundamentally different scenarios: a situation that forces you to evacuate your home immediately, or one that requires you to shelter in place for an extended period. A one-size-fits-all approach is a recipe for failure. You need to develop a two-part system: a go bag for rapid departure and a stay box for hunkering down. This system eliminates the need for panicked, last-minute decision-making. Your actions are predetermined. If you must leave, you grab the bag. If you must stay, you draw from the box. First, let's build your go bag. This is your 72-hour survival kit, packed and ready to go at a moment's notice. It should be stored in something you can manage easily, like a backpack or a small rolling suitcase. This is not a camping kit. It is a mobile lifeline tailored to your specific needs as a senior. The absolute priorities for your go bag are a 3-day supply of all essential medications in their original bottles, copies of all vital documents stored in a waterproof bag, driver's license, passport, social security card, insurance cards, power of attorney documents, deeds, and titles, a detailed list of your medications and dosages, and a robust emergency contact list that includes local contacts and at least one out-of-town relative who can act as a central point of communication. Also includes spares of critical personal items such as eyeglasses or hearing aid batteries. Pack a small, personalized first aid kit, a few high-energy snack bars, a portable water filter, a change of clothes, and sturdy, comfortable walking shoes. Finally, include a significant amount of cash in small bills and a reliable flashlight or headlamp with extra batteries. Next is your stay box. This isn't a single box, but rather your entire at-home stockpile of supplies designed to sustain you for the long haul. This is where your 2-week to 1-month supply of food and water resides. This is your deep pantry. Your stay box system should also include bulk hygiene items like toilet paper, soap, toothpaste, and sanitary wipes. It must contain your primary off-grid systems: a hand crank or solar-powered emergency radio to receive news and information, multiple lanterns and flashlights with a large cache of extra batteries, and your off-grid cooking setup. Think of the go bag as covering your needs for a sprint, while the stay box resources are for a marathon. Both parts of this system require regular maintenance. At a minimum, you should review and update the contents of your go bag and rotate the stock in your stay box twice a year. An easy way to remember this is to do it when you change your clocks for daylight saving time. Check expiration dates on food, water, and medications. Test your batteries and electronic devices. This simple discipline strategy prepares you for both contingencies, giving you a clear, decisive course of action no matter what the crisis is. Point 5. Achieve medical energy independence. For any senior dependent on electrically powered medical equipment, a power outage is more than an inconvenience. It is a direct threat to your life. Devices such as oxygen concentrators, CPAP machines, nebulizers, and home dialysis units are non-negotiable lifelines. When the grid fails, your plan for keeping them running cannot be an afterthought. It must be a primary, well-rehearsed strategy. The first step is a technical audit of your equipment. You must know the precise power requirements of every critical device you use. Look for the manufacturer's label or sticker on the device or its power brick. It will list the wattage, display, and amperage A. If it lists volts and amps, simply multiply them together, VXA, EW, to find the wattage. This number is your starting point for everything that follows. Create a detailed list of each essential medical device and its power consumption. The most practical and user-friendly solution for indoor power is a portable power station, often marketed as a solar generator. These are essentially large, self-contained lithium-ion batteries with built-in inverters that provide standard household outlets. Their key advantage is that they are silent, produce no fumes, and are safe to operate indoors, making them ideal for apartment dwellers or anyone unable to manage a gas generator. When selecting a unit, you must match its capacity, measured in watt-hours or WUC, to your needs. For example, if your CPAP machine uses 50 watts and you need it to run for 8 hours overnight, you require 400 watt-hours of capacity for just one night. A mid-sized power station, around 1,000 WUC, can power a CPAP for several nights and charge smaller devices, but an oxygen concentrator may require a much larger unit. To achieve true energy independence, you need a way to recharge the power station. This is where portable solar panels become essential. A set of 100 to 200 watt panels can recharge your power station during daylight hours, creating a sustainable closed-loop power system. While gas generators are powerful, they present significant challenges for many seniors. They are heavy, extremely loud, and require regular maintenance. Most importantly, they produce lethal carbon monoxide gas and must never be operated indoors, in a garage, or even near an open window. They require a secure outdoor location and careful handling of flammable fuel. A smaller yet critical piece of your power plan is an uninterruptible power supply, UPS. This is a small battery backup device, often used for computers, that provides instantaneous power the moment an outage occurs. Placing one between the wall outlet and your medical device can keep it running during a brief flicker or give you the crucial few minutes needed to get your main backup system, like the power station, up and running without any interruption to your therapy. Before an emergency, discuss your backup power plan with your doctor and medical equipment provider. They may have specific recommendations or resources available. Purchase your system now, learn how to use it, and practice deploying it. Your life may depend on it. Point 6. Engineer a blackout-proof communication plan. When a crisis strikes, the collapse of communication networks creates a terrifying sense of isolation and uncertainty. Cell towers become overloaded or lose power, landlines are cut, and the internet disappears. In this information vacuum, you are deaf and mute. A robust preparedness plan must include a multi-layered communication strategy that assumes your primary methods will fail. This strategy has 3 distinct components: receiving vital information, communicating with your local support network, and reaching family members who are farther away. Your ability to receive information is the most fundamental layer. The single most reliable tool for this is a battery-powered or hand-crank emergency radio that includes the NOAA Weather Alert Band. This device is your one-way link to official broadcasts and emergency information from the outside world. It is non-negotiable and should be one of the first pieces of communication gear you acquire. The second component is connecting with your immediate, local response team, the neighbors and friends you've established as your support network. You must operate on the assumption that phones will not work. This is where you deploy analog, pre-arranged methods. The visual signaling system, like a green cloth on your mailbox for "I'm okay" and a red one for "I need help," is an excellent passive communication tool. This should be reinforced with active check-in plans. For instance, agree to meet at a designated, easily accessible spot, like the end of the driveway at specific times each day, perhaps 9 hours. This creates a predictable routine for confirming everyone's well-being. For more dynamic communication within a few blocks, a good set of two-way radios, walkie-talkies, is an invaluable investment. They provide instant, direct contact with your immediate neighbors without relying on any external infrastructure. The third component is reaching family or contacts who are outside your immediate area. In many regional disasters, it is paradoxically easier to make a long-distance call that routes around the affected zone than it is to call next door. Your plan must designate a single, specific out-of-state contact to serve as a central information hub. Everyone in the family, children, grandchildren, siblings, should agree to call this one person to check in and report their status. This person then acts as a clearinghouse for information, relaying updates to the rest of the family. This prevents dozens of people from trying to call into a disaster zone, further jamming the limited network capacity. A critical pro tip for modern networks is to always attempt to send a text message before trying a voice call. Text messages use a different data channel and require far less bandwidth. They can often slip through a congested network when a voice call will repeatedly fail. A communication plan is useless if it's just a theory. Practice it with your family and neighbors so that when it's needed, the actions are automatic. Point 7. Build a personal urgent care kit. Every home likely has a small box of adhesive bandages and antiseptic wipes. In a scenario where you are your own first responder, that is dangerously inadequate. You must elevate your thinking from treating minor scrapes to stabilizing serious, life-threatening injuries. A fall, a deep cut from clearing debris, or a severe burn can quickly become fatal without proper intervention. Your emergency medical kit needs to be a comprehensive, 2-part system. One part for basic first aid and a second, distinct part for trauma care. The purpose of this kit isn't to perform surgery, it's to stop bleeding, prevent shock, and stabilize an injury until definitive care is possible, whenever that may be. Your goal is to keep a bad situation from getting worse. The basic first aid section should be a robust version of what most people already have. This includes a wide variety of bandages, sterile gauze pads of all sizes, medical tape, antiseptic wipes, antibiotic ointment, over-the-counter pain relievers and anti-inflammatories, antihistamines for allergic reactions, hydrocortisone cream, tweezers, and a digital thermometer. This part of the kit handles the everyday injuries that are still likely to happen during a crisis. The trauma section, however, is what prepares you for a true medical emergency. This is where you stock items to manage the big three preventable causes of death in a trauma situation: massive hemorrhaging, airway obstruction, and tension pneumothorax. For the average person, the focus is on bleeding control. This section must include at least one commercial tourniquet, such as a CAT, combat application tourniquet, and critically, the knowledge of how to properly apply it. It should also contain multiple pressure bandages or Israeli dressings to control severe bleeding, and hemostatic gauze like Quicklot or Sulux, which contains agents that help blood clot faster at the wound site. A SAM splint, which can be molded to immobilize almost any bone in the body, is essential for stabilizing suspected fractures. Finally, stock plenty of nitrile gloves to protect yourself. Having this advanced equipment is only 10% of the solution. The other 90% is knowing how to use it correctly. You must seek out training. A basic first aid and CPR class from the American Red Cross is a good starting point. Even better is to enroll in a Stop the Bleed course. These classes, often offered for free or at a low cost by local hospitals and emergency services, are specifically designed to teach civilians how to use tourniquets and pressure dressings to control life-threatening bleeding. The confidence and muscle memory you gain from hands-on training are invaluable. Your advanced first aid kit is your personal urgent care clinic in a box. Stock it thoughtfully, but more importantly, invest the time to learn the skills that will make it effective. Point 8. Create your master information vault. In the chaos of an emergency, your critical life documents and information are invaluable assets. Having them scattered across a desk in various file folders or locked in an inaccessible bank safe deposit box is a recipe for catastrophic failure. You need to consolidate this information into a centralized, redundant, and portable system. Think of it as your life's administrative command center. This master information vault must have both a physical and a digital component to ensure it can survive any single point of failure, be it a fire, flood, or simple misplacement. The core principle is this: if you were incapacitated, could a trusted person pick up this system and immediately understand how to manage your medical and financial affairs? If the answer is no, your system is incomplete. The physical component is a sturdy, well-organized 3-ring binder. This binder will hold copies, not originals, of every document that defines your life. The originals should be secured in a fireproof home safe or a bank safe deposit box. Your binder should have clearly labeled sections for identification: driver's license, passport, social security card, medical information, health insurance cards, Medicare, Medicaid cards, a complete list of your medications, dosages, allergies, and doctor's contact information, financial records, copies of the front and back of credit cards, recent bank account statements, retirement account information, legal documents, will, power of attorney, living will, property records, deeds to your home, vehicle titles, insurance policies, home, auto, life, and a printed list of all essential emergency contacts. This binder becomes a grab-and-go playbook for your entire life. The digital component is your redundant backup. You will scan every single document from your physical binder and save them to a password-protected, encrypted USB flash drive. This small drive should be kept in your go bag, separate from the physical binder. This creates geographic separation. If your home is destroyed and the binder is lost, you still have everything on the drive. For even greater security and accessibility, you can upload these encrypted files to a secure cloud storage service. This provides an off-site backup that can be accessed from any internet-connected device in the world, assuming you can get online. This 3-tiered system, originals in a safe, copies in a binder, and digital copies on a drive and in the cloud, ensures that no single event can wipe out your essential information. Building this binder is a tedious task, but it is one of the most powerful and responsible preparations you can undertake. It protects not only you but also the family and friends who may need to step in and help you during a crisis. Point 9. Engineer your escape route. For seniors, mobility can be a daily challenge. In an emergency, it becomes a critical vulnerability. When an evacuation order is given, or a situation at home becomes untenable, having a predefined and practiced escape plan is the difference between decisive action and fatal hesitation. Your strategy must be multi-layered, accounting for different scenarios and potential points of failure. The first step is to conduct a thorough reconnaissance of your area. You must identify a minimum of 3 distinct escape routes: one out of your home, one out of your immediate neighborhood, and one out of your town or city. Do not just look at them on a map. You must physically drive or travel these routes to understand their choke points, potential obstacles, and alternative turns. This hands-on familiarity is crucial. If you do not drive, your primary evacuation plan cannot be a vague hope. It must be a firm, confirmed agreement with a member of your personal support network. This is a serious commitment. You need to have an explicit conversation. If we need to evacuate, are you my designated driver? Have we agreed on a meeting point and a communication plan if phones are down? This cannot be ambiguous. You must also have a backup plan with another trusted neighbor and a tertiary plan, which might involve a local community or church group. While some municipalities have voluntary registries for seniors who require evacuation assistance, you must view this service as a last resort. In a major crisis, these services will be completely overwhelmed, and you cannot afford to be just a name on a list. Your mobility plan must also account for personal assistive devices. If you rely on a motorized scooter or an electric wheelchair, a power outage renders it useless. It is essential to have a lightweight, manual wheelchair as a backup. This simple, non-electric alternative ensures you can still be moved if the power is out and you need to leave. Similarly, ensure any mobility aids you have are clearly labeled with your name and contact information. In the chaos of an evacuation shelter, items can easily be misplaced. Finally, your go bag must be tailored to your physical capabilities. A heavy backpack might be impractical. A small, rolling suitcase is often a much smarter and more manageable choice. You must practice moving with your go bag. Can you lift it into a car? Can you pull it for a few blocks if necessary? A practiced plan builds muscle memory and confidence, allowing you to move with purpose when every second counts. Point 10. Fortify your castle. Practical home defense. It is an uncomfortable truth, but one that must be faced. When societal systems break down, desperation can erode normal human behavior. During a prolonged crisis, a home perceived as being occupied by a vulnerable person can become a target. Securing your home is not about paranoia or building an impenetrable fortress. It is about target hardening. Your goal is to make your home a less attractive and more difficult objective than the next one, encouraging potential threats to simply move on. This is achieved through simple, common-sense upgrades that create layers of security. Your efforts should focus on deterring, detecting, and delaying any potential intrusion. Start with the most common points of entry, your doors. The flimsy screws that come standard with most door hardware are practically useless against a determined kick. Your first action should be to replace the screws in your deadbolt strike plate with 3-inch long hardened steel screws. These will bite deep into the wooden stud of the door frame, dramatically increasing the door's resistance to blunt force. For sliding glass doors, a simple security bar placed in the track is a highly effective and visible deterrent. The next layer is visibility. Criminals prefer to operate in the dark and undercover. Trim back any bushes or shrubbery around your windows and doors that could provide a hiding spot. Install solar-powered, motion-activated security lights covering all sides of your home. These require no wiring and will instantly illuminate anyone approaching your property at night, acting as a powerful deterrent. Inside your home, you must pre-designate a safe room. This should be a room with a solid door, few or no windows, and access to a phone or your emergency walkie-talkie. The purpose of this room is to create a final hardened barrier where you can retreat, brace the door shut with a security bar or heavy furniture, and call for help. When it comes to personal self-defense, this is a deeply personal choice. While firearms are an option, they require significant training, practice, and a disciplined mindset to be used safely and effectively. There are numerous highly effective, non-lethal alternatives. Pepper gel, which is less likely to blow back at you than spray, can create distance and incapacitate an attacker, giving you vital seconds to escape. A personal security alarm is a small device that emits a piercingly loud siren, designed to disorient an assailant and attract immediate attention. Even a sturdy walking cane can be used as a formidable defensive tool. Whatever option you choose, you must be comfortable with it and practice its use. This is not about living in fear, it is about taking rational steps to secure your environment, which in turn gives you the confidence to live with less anxiety.